Welcome to Business and Happiness Podcast. I'm your host, Braco, Pobric. This episode is sponsored by Life Success Academy, a place where you recreate your business and personal happiness. My guest today is Carolyn King, business owner, positive psychology master coach, and kinesiologist. Hello, Carolyn. How are you, my friend?
I am wonderful. How are you today, Braco?
I am doing great. I wanted to talk to you about something that I know you are very, very, very familiar with. And that's something that I know absolutely nothing about. And that is kinesiology. So seriously, I know that you are a kinesiologist. I know that has a lot to do with this connection between coaching. So what is kinesiology? Like a lot of us would love to know.
Well, kinesiology in its rawest form is about movement, but what I do is called energetic kinesiology, and we're looking at the energy in the body. So essentially what happened was some very smart minds came together, a chiropractor, and he came together and he realized that there was a connection between our bones, our organs, and our muscles, along with Chinese medicine and the meridians in Chinese medicine. So we have this whole big group of things working together. And with an energetic kinesiologist, or if you look in the US, they may call it touch for health. So I know there's training in touch in the US because I know that's where this all started. But what we do is in person, you would come to see me, we would have a chat, you would lie on the table, and I would use an arm muscle to communicate with your subconscious, with your brain. So it's really cool. So like I said, in its rawest form, kinesiology is movement. So physios would put pressure on a muscle to determine its strength. In energetic kinesiology, we're actually looking at the integrity of the way the brain is communicating with the muscle. So when there's a stress in the body, the muscle will unlock. It's like a short circuit. I talk about it in terms of the computer. Your brain's like a computer and your arm is the output. And when there's a short circuit, the arm unlocks and it tells us, all right, there's a stress here. And we can then dive into whatever that stress is. But we're looking at everything. So we can work with all the muscles in the body. And we can literally muscle test all the muscles in the body as well. So we go from contraction to expansion. It's a way of getting into the muscles because every muscle is communicating with your brain. So if you have a sore thigh muscle, for instance, if your quadricep muscles are sore, and they've been sore for many, many years or many, many months, there's quite often a stress with the way the brain is communicating with that muscle. So as an example, I had a story where I saw a 17-year-old who was going to the US to play basketball, and he had sore adductor muscles. So they're the muscles inside, your inner thigh. And he had been to physios, he'd been to a whole lot of different therapists, and he couldn't alleviate the pain. The pain was there. And he came to see me. We did one session, and he walked away and he said, I don't know what she did, but my muscles are better. And I didn't touch his muscles. And the reason is, so when we're working with the body, we're looking at the emotions. So I looked at what is the emotion that his muscle was holding. You know, we've got muscle memory. We all know about muscle memory when you go to the gym.
Yes.
You do bicep curls. Well, we also understand that our muscles hold memory of emotions. So if something happened when you hurt yourself or injured yourself, the muscle is holding the memory of that emotion. Once we identify that emotion, and sometimes we just have to identify the emotion, that's it. Sometimes we have a little chat about it. We rub a few pressure points. Usually those pressure points are along the lines of the meridians, which is the Chinese medicine. Mm-hmm. It alleviates the pain. The pain literally goes away. So I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it's because kinesiology has so many facets to it that we can work with anything. So we can work with muscle pain. Excuse me. We can work with the organs. I'm going to have some water. I'm really sorry.
Yes. No, go ahead. I'll use the opportunity to do the same.
When you swallow the wrong way. I had a client once who had really bad gallbladder pain. And she came in and she said her pain was 10 out of 10. So we rubbed some pressure points. Again, we rubbed the meridian points for gallbladder. She walked out the door with zero pain. But the next day she had her gallbladder removed. So as much as we can reduce pain, we couldn't alleviate the damage already done to the gallbladder. So this is how powerful kinesiology is. We can help eliminate pain, but sometimes the damage is done.
Right. So do you think if she came from I don't know, a while back when it was in the beginning, that you would be able to help and that they would
Possibly, yeah. Absolutely, possibly. When we're looking at the organs, again, we're looking at the emotions, but we're also looking at diet. So we can muscle test what works for you and what works for somebody else in terms of what you eat. So I had a baby, and we do something in kinesiology called surrogating, where someone can muscle test on behalf of somebody else. Now, I know this sounds a little bit woo-woo, but, science, quantum physics tells us we're all connected.
Yes,
we're all connected through science. So I had a mother come to me. She said her 1-year-old wasn't sleeping. She goes, I don't know what to do. He's not sleeping at night. So I muscle tested her. We used her body to communicate with the baby's body because I can't muscle test a baby. We determined that he could not eat potatoes at night. Once she took potatoes out at night.
How did you determine that?
Well, we have what's called a directory. So we muscle test through lists of things, or I do what's called PKP, which is Professional Kinesiology Practitioner. So we have like an address book on our fingers, so we muscle test where we're going. And, we have the little finger, which is electrical. So all the energetic parts of the body, if that tests up, I know it's something to do with meridians, or if we're going to the spiritual, the chakras and the auras. The second finger is all about emotion. So if it tests up there, I know there's something emotional going on. If I test up on this middle finger, that's personal ecology. That is diet, food, adrenals, all that sort of stuff. So we tested up there. So I knew it was something to do with food. And then I can test up what it is. And we knew we needed to delete a food. So it's like an address book. It's the way they've developed.
When you said you test up, is it something you feel on your finger? Like, how do you know?
So I'm muscle testing. So I'm muscle testing someone with one arm while I'm doing, and I'm saying electrical, emotional, personal ecology, and this one's structure. So anything to do with the physical body, muscles, organs. So I'm muscle testing. So the minute the muscle goes weak, I know. Yeah. So it sounds quite woo-woo, but in terms of muscle testing in its rawest form, there have been people. There's someone called David Hawkins who's written a wonderful book. He's passed away. He's written a number of books actually, but his first book was Power versus Force, and he talks about the validity of muscle testing and how it's one of the most accurate ways of getting truth, because you can't lie with a muscle test. So, for instance, if you were to say if we were going to use your whole body as a muscle test right now, and you were to stand up, I know we're sitting, so it depends on how in tune you are with your body, but you could say, my name is Carolyn, and if I went forward, my body would tell me, yes, my name's Carolyn. So if I said my name is Braco, my body would be going, no, it's not, and I would move backwards. So it's like using your whole body as a muscle. So if you were to try it now, Braco, and you were to sit there and say, my name is Carolyn, and just notice what happens to your body.
My name is Carolyn.
Does anything happen? Do you go forward or back? Does anything happen?
Maybe. But you know what? I pushed my back really nicely to the chair. I just kidding. So I can't like that. But seriously, okay. So going back to chiropractors, I can tell you that I had that experience. And I have a lot of friends and colleagues who absolutely don't believe in that. I knew nothing. When I came to US, I didn't know that term. What's a chiropractor? We never, I'm sure we have that now back in Bosnia, former Yugoslavia, but back then, when I was growing up, that didn't really exist. And I did not believe in it, and I didn't go. And then at one point, we actually met a friend who had a friend, and I actually convinced myself, seriously, this is I convinced myself that this is working. I had no clue what it is, but I go, you know what? This is going to help me. And I think and even my chiropractor said that helped me, that I was able to tell myself and convinced that this will work. And she was tremendous help. It took a couple, I don't know how many sessions, but back, it's all about, it was all from stress. I had a
Yes,
terrible back pain. I couldn't move. Had nothing, I never lifted anything heavy. It had nothing to do with physical damage, but it was all caused by stress. So what I'm thinking with kinesiology, like you said, it sounds like woo-woo. I mean, if I don't know you so well, if I don't know what else you can do, if I don't know your amazing coaching capabilities, maybe I would really think, is this real? Right? I mean, I'm very much open-minded, and I know it is, and I have a lot of friends who are kinesiologists, but again, I don't know about it. So some listeners might be like, oh, is this really real? But of course it is. And if you don't believe it, don't try. That's what.
fine. But when you experience it in your body, that's the fun thing. When I do get someone in the clinic and they lie on the table and I show them how it works, their expression is, wow. And this is what I love about it, because some men are very adverse. They don't want to talk about their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They come, they lie on the table, they feel it in their muscles, and they go, okay. Okay, you're doing it harder, you're doing it softer, I go, I'm not. And then eventually they feel it, because I always show them how it works. So I think with and chiropractors do applied kinesiology. So there are some chiropractors that definitely do muscle testing, absolutely. And they will muscle test emotions up. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't remember, this was like, 25 years ago, but I do remember, and maybe she did, again, I don't know, but I do remember she was saying, there's really nothing wrong with your back. Like, this is all from stress. Do you have a stressful job? So we talked about it. That I remember. What happened when you come to US? Can you pay your bills? She was because we were also, friend of friends. So we became friends. So I'm glad to hear that this actually has a connection. I'm thinking, I know you do a lot of, you help people, become happy, as I would call, right? So you teach happiness and you help a lot of people in that field. How is the kinesiology connected?
What's great about kinesiology is I have learnt protocols that help to calm down the stress response. So quite often we go into that fight-flight response. So we've got the vagus nerve, the polyvagal theory. I don't know if many people know about that, but there's a theory by Dr. Stephen Porges, who he talks about the polyvagal theory, about fight, flight, freeze response. It's essentially how our brain operates. I've been blessed to have learnt numerous techniques that help to calm that part of the body down. Now, the beauty about this is I can do these online. I don't need to muscle test. I know how to do these particular movements. And they help to calm the fight-flight response down, because if we're in any kind of stress, if our brain is in that state of there's danger somewhere, where is it? We can't be happy. So the first thing we need to do is calm down that fight-flight response. I would say 95% of my clients, it's one of the biggest things I do. Now, with the knowledge I have from you, Braco, I bring in mindfulness, I bring in positive psychology, and quite often the mindfulness gets put into that part where I calm the vagal system down or bring it back into balance. Then what we do is we can muscle test to see what the body wants to do. Because we've talked in other episodes about how we give a lot to other people and we don't do enough me time. We can muscle test to see what is stressing out a person in their life. So it could be a relationship, it could be a chore they do, it could be an activity they do. We can muscle test what stresses them out. Then we can discuss how we can reduce or eliminate that. And then we can go back to muscle testing, or we can problem solve. And this is where I bring the coaching in, is what would you like to do with your life? What makes you happy? But we have to release the stress before we can get to that point of being able to have that higher functioning in the brain. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. This is such a fascinating. I love this discussion. Today, I had in one of my group coaching sessions, I had a lady who was still is massage therapist, and she's been doing this for the last 10 years. And I guess it's similar like you. She said, I realized that I'm actually coaching people while I'm doing therapy. So why don't I then also create a coaching practice? She also took the post-psychology master coach program. But it's really so related. It's fascinating how this works. I really love to learn about this. I assume you cannot do anything remotely, can you?
No, I can.
Really?
Which is wonderful. So in terms of remotely, what we've learned is, again, we're going back to quantum physics, we're all connected. So I can muscle test on your behalf, which sounds quite, and the one thing I want to get clear with kinesiology, it can be quite woo-woo and it can go quite spiritual, but it can also be very structural. It doesn't have to be. So when I'm working with my clients, I work within the paradigm that they're living in. So I've worked with Christians, I've worked with Muslims, I've worked with Hindu. So I don't always, if I know that they're not into chakras and auras, that's fine. I won't go there. Like, that's absolutely, I can work pure, and it doesn't make it less effective. I work within the paradigm of the client. If they're not spiritual at all or not religious, that's fine too. I can work just on the muscles. In terms of working remotely, I can muscle test on the client's behalf. Like, remember I spoke about surrogating when someone else can do it?
Yes.
I can do it on their behalf, and then I get them to rub the pressure points. Or kinesiology has, I think it always has a coaching basis in it, because when we learned it, we were learning a little bit about NLP and we were learning a bit about letting the client. Yeah. So we do a bit of eye movement work, we do tapping. Kinesiology is like a modality that's brought everything together. And we muscle test to see what the optimum result is. So online, last year, I realised that I could even help people with muscle pain, which was, it even blew my mind away. I'd have people messaging me and we'd be online and they'd have a sore shoulder. I would muscle test, because when we're clearing muscle issues in the body, we're rubbing pressure points on the body, which the client can do online. We're talking about emotions. Again, we can talk about that online. So really, I can do most of it online as well.
But fascinating. I didn't know this. Wow.
Yeah. We had to adapt, with lockdowns, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. During our lockdowns through the COVID period, we weren't allowed to see people in our clinic in person, so we had to adapt, and a lot of kinesiologists were able to adapt online and get some phenomenal results. And I've had that myself. I've had clients say, wow, I didn't know I could get this result online.
Were people open to that? Were most people open to, well, I assume existing clients probably.
Not even new clients. Even really? Just this week I had, this week I had 2 new clients and another one. Yeah, so I had 3 new clients that are all willing to do online this week.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have, in terms of existing clients, I have clients around Australia, so they clearly can't come and see me. They're happy to do online. I have a few clients that live within my area that when we are able to see clients in person, they still choose to do online sessions because it suits them and it serves their, that they're happy to do it online, and then they can just go about their business. They don't have to drive here, even though they're only maybe 10 or 15 minutes away. So there are some clients that actually prefer online. And speaking to some of my clients, some people don't want to be touched.
Mm-hmm. I would think so. Right.
So online's even better because they're in their safe space. So I guess with me, and most kinesiologists have also learned something else, so they're able to adapt with other things. And for me, I bring in the coaching, so the positive psychology coaching that I've learned from you, and life coaching.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm curious how kinesiology can and does connect with the coaching, and how you not really transform, you still have kinesiology, but like kind of make that integration, if you will, which I think it's really cool to do these 2 things and then do more just a coaching by itself.
I think the core idea of coaching and kinesiology is that the client always has the answers.
Yes.
So
yes, exactly.
And that's the same. So it is in coaching as it is in kinesiology. So we don't tell them what to do. I guess, so what I do is I might muscle test for them to help identify where a stress is if they're stuck. But when they are talking, so when they're chatting through whatever it is they're working through, as we know, we allow the client to talk, I will ask them to rub a pressure point to release the energy in the body to help them get access to that. So this energy in the body, we're going back to Chinese medicine, which has been around thousands of years.
Right.
The meridian system has been around. Chinese medicine has been validated through science. Yes. And I know more and more is getting more and more I know medical doctors are referring to acupuncturists and Chinese medicine. So we use the same energy in the body, but just by rubbing a point, you can stimulate and release the energy. So while they're talking about something, I will muscle test or sometimes I just intuitively know now. I've been doing it for so long, I'm just in tune and I may know what the client needs. I'll get them to rub a pressure point while they're talking. So while I'm coaching them, I just rub this point while you're doing that. You know, there's a point here on the hand, which is all about the heart. So I'll just rub this point while you're talking. So just in there, it's a neuro-emotional point for the heart and more on the side. So just so follow your little finger down and just little finger, other side of the hand. Little finger down. And
for some people that they don't see, I just didn't really know exactly what that little finger
that's a neuro-emotional point for heart. You know, or on the other side, in the pad of the thumb, we have a neuro-emotional point for the lungs. So people don't breathe properly, do they? So when you're doing a mindfulness activity, great point to rub to release the energy in the lungs.
I love how this is all connected. This is really amazing. So when you do just pure coaching, say somebody sign up for your coaching package, right? You still use some of the kinesiology, right? Yeah. And then I assume you figure when you can, I can't, if you feel comfortable or not.
In all honesty, I say when you come to see me, you get everything.
Yeah, I love it.
Because I can't, if I know a tool's going to work from something else, I can't not use it. But I would ask the client for their permission. But quite often I make it clear up front that when you come to see me, you get all my tools in my toolbox. So because I've done another coaching modality called M-braining or MBIT, which is multiple brain integration techniques. And it's a coaching modality just connecting with your head, your heart and your gut brains. And I bring that in a lot as well. So if a client needs something, I will bring that in because I feel that that's why they've been drawn to me. And I think that's just like with coaching. If someone's drawn to you, they're drawn to your skill set and your life experiences and who you are as a person. So, you know, when they come to see me, I say, you get everything. I'm not going to say, oh, no, you're only here for kinesiology. I'm not giving you this bit. No, you get whatever you need at the time, obviously with their permission.
Obviously. So even if they come for kinesiology only, say for your knowledge and skills on that, you will certainly, when need, we apply some of the coaching tools because it's part of it. You talk to them, right?
The coaching is, I think, a part of kinesiology anyway. I think for me, learning coaching made me a better kinesiologist.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Wow, I love this. This is great discussion. I got to try this. This is really amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
My pleasure. I think I answered all your questions, didn't I? Was there anything else?
No, I think you answered. I mean, I really wanted to know just for myself, what is kinesiology? I have a couple other friends in Australia specifically, not here in the US, that practicing kinesiology, but I didn't really know what it is. I wanted to understand, that connection between kinesiology and happiness because I know you connected that so well, and I wanted really for myself and for our audience to understand that, and also to see how you integrated your coaching. And now it's very clear that this is all connected, and that you, with all the tools that you have, you really provide so much value to your clients, and I just love it. And that's what we do.
Well, what I want to say for those in the US, if they're looking for a kinesiologist, it may be called energetic kinesiology, or it may be called Touch for Health. So Touch for Health it's all sort of similar, and Brain Gym is another branch of kinesiology. And I know because Touch for Health and Brain Gym come out of the US, Brain Gym was created by a wonderful man called Paul Dennison and his wife Gail Dennison. They're located in the US, as well as Touch for Health, which is Matthew Thie. So if you look up those words, I'm sure you'll be able to find someone in the US that can do that for you.
Why would I find somebody in the US when I have you in Australia? You can do remotely.
Well, that's true too. We can do it online. We can definitely do it online, which is awesome.
Love it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate this. And it was so much fun talking. I learned so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, my friend. Talk to you soon. Become the Life Success Academy founding member. Go to academyoflifesuccess.com and click on founding member to get 60% off full membership.